Welcome to What Talent Podcast. Today we have a special guest here today. We got Al Jones, a Philadelphia native who spent his early years in the city of brotherly love before joining the Army at the age of 17. Over the course of an incredible 20-year military career, he completed 3 combat tours and was honored with a Purple Heart for his service. After retiring the Army, Al transitioned to a civilian life as a car salesman, a role he excelled in for 6 years while simultaneously building his own private contracting company. Now he is taking on an exciting new challenge, entering the government contracting spaces with a focus on fleet management. Welcome, Al Jones. How you doing?
Good. I'm good, man.
I wanted to say thank you for your service.
Absolutely. You're welcome.
How was that? How was the time there?
Yeah, I don't even talk about it on my podcast. And nobody really cares. I'm gonna tell you something, like, it was more of I wanted to make sure my soldiers came back than anything. Like, so that whole 20 years is a blur.
It's a
being
blur?
honest. Yeah.
So, well, let's talk about your upbringing in Philadelphia. How was that?
Well, it was funny because even as a teenager, they told us that you weren't gonna stay alive until you're 21. As a young boy in my era,
Right.
coming up in Philly. And so as time went on, at 17 I left. Then they told us you ain't gonna last more than 21 seconds in combat, as an infantryman. So there you go. And I'm like, damn, I'm just destined to die. Almost died 9 times. The Purple Heart was the only time I really got hit. But yeah, it's just one of those resiliency things.
What made you decide to do the Army? Like, why not just...
Every male in my family did at least 2 years in the military. On my father's side of the family.
Okay.
So I was the only one that ever did 20 years.
What part of Philadelphia you from?
North. With a F, guys. With a F. You know we don't say TH in Philly. You know what I'm saying?
So how did the military help you become who you are today?
Let me tell you something. It makes you resilient, and it gives you mad leadership if you stick with it. Because when I got in sales, I came in sales with all the leadership experience and everything, but then I was knocked all the way back down to ground zero because I didn't know. So I was afraid of sales. Like, people didn't even know that I was afraid to show numbers for a car sale when I first started. A closing manager had to come out and show the numbers on the initial time. It took me about 3 months.
Why?
I was afraid of it. I was too proud to ask people for money, like, just as a young boy coming up. And so when I realized and I'm like, bro, that's business. Once you learn sales, that is the ground floor to business.
Right.
And I didn't know that when I got out. I was still introvert. I wasn't on no cameras. Like, my Facebook and Instagram was locked up. You couldn't find, even if you had my email address, you couldn't find me.
He's like, you ain't finna find
You
him.
ain't finding me. But as time went on, and as I started building my own business, I wasn't gonna do anything for the dealership. So I'm gonna tell you, I ain't gonna say any names of dealerships or anything while we here.
Okay.
We could talk about the dealerships,
Okay.
and the people, but we ain't saying no names.
Okay. All right.
But when I got to those dealerships, it was for a real reason, and it wasn't for a reason that you probably would think.
Would you trying to get more money?
I got into I started sales because, one, I need to get over that fear. For
Right.
one. For two, I went in a field that I was extremely I hate car salesmen. I'm just gonna put that out there right now. I hate car salesmen. Okay, I never considered myself a car salesman.
Okay.
I always considered myself a sales professional. Anybody who knew me in those dealerships, I never let them call me a car salesman.
Okay.
Because I was literally building my business, learning sales, learning the banks, learning finance, and I just kept building and getting all the information I needed. So when I started my business, I had the full foundation. It was like, okay, so what am I going to sell? Oh, I'm gonna sell cars to the government because I already learned it.
Right.
So
I see you talking about car salesmen and all that stuff. What got you into doing that?
funny story. First combat deployment, I came back from Iraq. It's funny. I haven't told this story out loud yet. You're the first person to hear this. This is an exclusive
Oh,
that's
I'm getting
really
exclusive.
coming
I'm
out
getting
right
exclusive.
now.
Okay.
I never told nobody out in public. Only my
Okay.
friends know this.
Okay.
2005, I came back from my first tour in Iraq.
Mm-hmm.
My wife left me for another dude. I came back to the home base. She was already gone. I literally had the clothes in my duffel bag that I had when we deployed.
Mm-hmm.
Went to the car dealership, loaded with a 700 Beacon, pockets full of tax-free money. I go to the dealership. I wanted that Chrysler 300. This is the first Dodge I bought. Before I left, I talked to a salesman. He gave me his card. I said, if I survive, I'm coming back to see you. But you got to realize something. I didn't have no clothes. I didn't have no car. Like somebody just dropped me off there. The outfit I had on was very tight and very faded. I had on combat boots with the shorts, green socks. I looked real bad. No haircut, wolfing on my face too. It looked real bad.
Okay.
So they looked at me and no one wanted to talk to me or sell me a car. And then I sat there, and as I was getting ready to walk out the door, like you talking about embarrassed? I was about to walk out the door, and then this young sales lady came up, and she was like, is anybody helping you? I gave her everything. I tried to destroy that dealership. I yelled at the top of my lungs at her, and she sat there and took that shit right to the face. And she was like, okay, well, I'm dealing with someone in finance right now. As soon as I'm done, I'm going to grab you and pull you in my office. Do you want a cup of coffee? Oh, okay. And so I really backed down. I was like, she had nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
But I really wanted that silver Chrysler 300.
Right.
So she pulled me in the office. They ran my credit, seen it. They like, how much you got to put down? Like, I'm going to put down this amount. They was like, oh, this motherfucker can definitely buy a fucking car. But it was so late, they just gave me a borrowed vehicle agreement. Said, just take it home for the weekend. Because it was a Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And I came back on Monday in a suit, clinked up, haircut and everything. I walk up in there, everybody dick eating at this point. I signed the paperwork, I left. 10 years later, I started selling Dodge because I didn't like that experience. And I know if they did it to a veteran, well, I was active at that time, but if they did it to an active duty service member who I just got off a plane from Iraq 2 hours prior, they'd do it to anybody. And so I wanted to learn the sales process and fix it.
So, working in sales, what you feel like was like the stereotype a lot of people?
Judge a book by its cover. That is the stereotype all day. In every dealership I was in, all the salesmen did it, except for me. I would sell. I didn't care if you was buying a damn Chrysler 200 or you was buying a wide body Demon. Well, because I sold the most in that store. Yeah.
For a little context, you guys, we used to work at the same dealership.
Yeah.
I was working at the front desk, and he was the salesman. But you was always cool. You and a few other the guys was there was cool. One of them guys, he was not a pedophile, because I was old enough, but he was more of like just. He a brown skinned dude. He was short. He's from a different country.
Short, brown skin, different country. Short.
He was just ridiculous. He was just coming on too strong. And I'm like, sir, I don't want you. And then he was like, I get you whatever you want, and this and that third. I was like, sir, no. No, I used to do like the little flirting thing with one of the guys. I call him Babyface. You know?
Yeah, I know who he is.
Yeah, I like
curly
to
hair.
flirt with him.
That's my guy.
Yeah,
that's my guy.
Cool. Cause it ain't even all that deep. But the other one, I was like, no.
Drove a Jeep, lifted.
Yeah, I'm like, nah, we're not doing that. But working there, what is the craziest thing you experienced working there?
Ooh, I can go different ways with that. Like I can go crazy worst or crazy best.
So give me your worst first.
Worst, the leadership was ass. All the leadership.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah.
Like there was no leadership there at all. It was a bunch of bosses in leadership positions. It was horrible. But the best was the fact that I did get in with the upper management, like the general manager, the finance director, and that's how I learned everything I learned about sales well, not everything, how I learned the back end of it.
Right.
Because I came there polished, from Texas. And so when I got there, I really bonded myself to the leaders, because every place you go in the military, you always ask about the leaders. Like, tell me about the leaders. Tell me about the leaders, so you know how to deal with everybody. Like, who's not a good leader, who's a run tell that ass motherfucker, who does this, who does that. Like, you want to know all of this when you go to new duty stations.
Right.
So when I changed dealerships, it was just natural habit. I talked to all the seasoned guys when I first got there. One in particular, he's been there probably almost 40 years now. I'm not gonna say his name, but you know who he is. Tall African motherfucker.
Yes.
Okay.
His boy is the short version of him. The
Yeah.
one I'm talking about is the short version of him. He's from Africa.
That was his brother. He passed.
Oh.
Yeah, he passed about a year or
R.I.P.
so ago. But yeah, so yeah, that was his brother actually.
Oh, okay.
But him and a few other people told me, like, I asked everybody about the desk managers. And this is where one of the desk managers really got mad at me. Really got mad. I didn't know they was watching my content until I walked up in that dealership, and the tall dude I was just talking about, he was like, Al, why did you say that about him? I was like, say what? This motherfucker, he had this, it was like he had the clip saved. He pulled up like this. And I'm sitting there, I was like, y'all saw that? And everybody came out and was laughing at me and everything. He's like, you need to go apologize. Like, apologize for what? Like, I didn't apologize when I left here. They told me I had to apologize or leave. And I was like, I am not apologizing to anyone.
So what happened? I need to know what happened. Why? Because, I left. Why did you leave?
All right. It was, first of all, I was just tired of being there because false promises,
Okay.
the finance thing, that
Right.
was the main thing. But right after, there was two finance managers that came in after the one finance manager who passed away.
Right.
There was two finance managers that came in. I had already been promised a spot when a vacancy came. The one guy, he left before he even signed the first deal. The second guy, he stayed there for, I don't know, probably about a couple weeks. So before the third guy came that stayed the longest and like stayed until I left, I walked up to the general manager at the desk. I was like, can I talk to you in your office? And I asked him, why aren't you promoting me? I was like, you took me to the game and you told me you was going to promote me. Why aren't you promoting me? The damn office is vacant. You already had two people come in. Like, what's going on? This dude told me, well, if I told this particular manager right here to go up there and stand in that road and get hit by a truck, he'll go do it. You won't. I was like, oh, so you want a yes man back there. I was like, I wasn't even that in the military, my guy. Like, I have always been an independent thinker. I was like, ain't nobody gonna tell me what the fuck to do. So right after that, I took vacation. I came back 3 weeks later. That particular manager, he always wanted to know my government name. Never told him. I was like, it's just Al, baby. It's just Al. It's just Al. Mr. 3A, Al Jones. Like, what we doing? Like, why you want to know my government? It don't matter. No one in here calls me by my government name. Ain't nobody here a friend. We all associates.
Right.
Y'all ain't coming to my damn house. One day we were shooting a commercial with, it was either Dominique Wilkins or Vander Holyfield. And all the managers was dick eating out there, like behind the camera. So this one particular manager was handing out checks. Remember when I asked you if you remember Rojo? The name Rojo? That's why it was kind of special that I asked you that, because me and Rojo was like really cool. Like, he's the young boy at the dealership. I really liked him, and I started helping him with his sales, like teaching him some things. And when Chris was calling out the names, my middle name is very similar to his first name.
Okay.
And so when he called out the name, this is the first time he ever seen my government name because he saw my check. And he thought he was gonna be funny. And he called me by my middle name and last name. So I really, at first it didn't register. I thought he was talking about Rojo.
Wait, before you go on, which Chris we talking about? Fat Chris? The one that had the little stomach?
Ake Lotan,
Okay.
the African boy.
Okay, go ahead.
So he called my middle name and last name first. I didn't think he was talking. And then Rojo cousin worked with us. And so he's like, you talking about Rojo? Ain't no damn, I ain't gonna say my name, but he said, don't nobody here by that name but Rojo. And he's like, no, I said it right. And then he said my full government name, first, middle, last. I almost killed him. If it wasn't for my boy Antoine, I would have been on that boy ass around his neck. Boy, I was he almost couldn't even hold me. And after that, they told me I had to apologize to him or leave. And I was like, this motherfucker been asking me about, like, why the fuck is he asking me my fucking first name? Like, what the fuck? And then he said it to be funny. And so when I almost whooped his ass, they told me that I either had to apologize to God. I ain't apologizing to that motherfucker. And so I left. And I already had my box. I came in that day in a sweatsuit and with a box. I was like, I came, put my little shit in there. I was gone right after I talked to, guess who I talked to in that office about it? Eric, the one who complained about all the bullshit that I said.
Yeah.
So he was just looking for a reason. I'm like, bro, I done cussed out you. I cussed out your uncle. I cussed out the used car director, the finance director. I've cussed everybody out in this store, but you gonna fire me over the babysitter on the floor, the babysitter manager, the one who makes sure you're doing your phone calls. Wasn't even a good closer. That's why they fired me.
That is crazy.
It's wild.
That is wild. Wow. I wouldn't. There was just too much going on.
There's a lot going on in it.
A lot.
But that's the stuff that people don't really understand behind the scenes at those dealerships.
Yeah. So what made you decide? Well, I know you decided to do your own thing. And at what point you was like, I just gotta start building my own thing while you was at the dealership?
I left that dealership. I took about 4 months off. Traveled, cleared my head, and once I was ready to get back into sales, I went to them first because I really like my guy freaking with the Chuck McCall. I love that, but he was the only leader in that dealership. So Chuck, if you're seeing this, bro, mad respect. I respected Chuck like crazy. And I hit him up first. I was like, listen, I'm coming back into sales because I had just started my business. So I started the business as a referral program.
Okay.
And so I hit Chuck. I was like, listen, I'm coming back into sales. Tim said it was cool. The general manager of that store said it was cool. But his nephew, Eric, was the cock blocker. He was the hater. He's like, no, I don't want to. And so Tim told me, he was like, listen, I'm cool. Well, no, not Tim. What's his name? Chuck told me, he was like, look, Tim cool with you coming back, but other management don't. And I already knew it. I read through the lines. Because if I'd have went back, Lotan would have been, that motherfucker been walking on pins and needles. Because even when I went back after doing dealer trades and stuff, he would not look at me. He wouldn't come sniff my way. I tried to buy a Hellcat there. When I traded in a couple cars. I was trying to trade in 2 cars, get down to 1, a Hellcat. Before I went all the way to Virginia to buy it, I went there first. When they sent the closing officer out or the closing manager out, I was like, you better not send Lotan. They was like, oh, trust me, he ain't coming over here. And they sent Chuck out.
You gonna hear some threats.
I ain't give no threat. I ain't give nobody no threat. I just said, keep the ball out my face.
That's funny. So the name of your company now is 3A.
3AM Solutions.
So where you came up with that name from?
Funny. 3A actually stands for Al the Automotive Ace. I was trying to find some Instagram name back when I first started. It was so long I couldn't put it in the website. So eventually it just went down to 3A. And then the M Solutions is Management Solutions.
Okay.
So 3AM Solutions, it plays so many different ways. Like I'm up all night working, helping with solutions, problems, fixing, because I always help fix problems.
Right.
And so that's where the 3A came from. And then I just put the Management Solutions on the end and it just came out 3AM Solutions.
Okay. So we're going to go back to the salesman, then we're going to go back to the 3A. What advice would you give anybody that's looking into doing what you just did? What advice would you give them to say, oh, you should do salesman, and then if you do salesman, look to do this? Or what would you tell them?
Well, I wouldn't even just put it as in sales. Uh, I'd actually frame it up to three things.
Okay.
Motivation. Like you got to find what's motivating you to push forward to do whatever it is that you want to do.
Right.
Okay. So for me, someone told me that I was going to need them before they needed me. And I pushed to make sure that shit didn't happen. That's where it started. The second, mentor. Find someone you resonate with.
Right.
Like, it don't like you might watch a bunch of their content online or a bunch of mentors' content online. Everybody's not gonna resonate with you, you know. But you find someone who resonates with you, like maybe personality and appearance or whatever it is that really grabs your attention. Watch and listen. You know, watch and learn and just kind of go with it. The last, mindset. You have to change that mindset because most people, they'll start in a place where what their parents brought them up to.
Okay.
And I always tell people, I always ask this question to my students. I tell them, I say, who is the, not what, who is the biggest salesperson in the world? I'm gonna ask you that question. Who's the biggest salesperson in the world?
God? At this point, because he sell the Bible. Well, people trying to sell the Bible.
Oh, let's talk about some living people. They gotta be living, okay?
Okay. Okay.
Parents and teachers. Because from birth until 18, those who've given you all your information, when you graduate and you start to become on your own as an adult, if you don't change that way of thinking, like, because things change from when they were coming up.
Yes.
And if you don't like really get your mindset going and like come up to the new age, because they just giving you everything that they know. I mean, that's what parents do.
Yeah.
But you have to build on it. So if you don't change your mindset from a kid, at some point, you're gonna fail. So motivation plus mentor equals mindset. That's kind of the slogan of 3M Solutions.
Motivation.
Plus mentor equals mindset.
So have you found any mentees?
Mentees?
Yeah.
Oh, I've helped several businesses here in Atlanta. I was in the damn beauty industry after I left car sales. I helped a spa. I helped. I don't know if I can say it on your platform, but you know, I helped some people in the Dell industry as well.
Porn industry?
Yeah, with the content, content clipping and stuff like that.
Yeah. As long as ain't no porn going on, we good.
Yeah.
You can
no,
say it.
because so that you just don't. Once you start saying, "Hey, look, I changed my podcast studio to a media studio," people just hit me up. I was like, I never really thought about it. I was like, but I know billionaires, they actually advertise on porn sites. And I was like, huh. My mentor, he's a billionaire. He advertises on porn sites. He told us that in our classes. And I was like, really? I thought it would be illegal. It is not illegal. And it's funny how he do it. It's really wild.
I mean, hey, they got to get it out there.
I guess.
They got to get it out there. So, when it comes to 3A, are you looking for, when you say you're looking for government contracting or whatnot, what exactly are you looking for?
Well, was wild. Did you see the news maybe a few days ago when Trump signed that order? About the government, federal employees?
Unfortunately, yes.
That really taps into the federal side.
Okay.
Because me being a Black-owned, service-owned, veteran-owned small business, it really can hinder what I can do on the federal side of the house as far as, fleet management contracts.
Okay.
State police cars. I mean, shoot, Dodge makes police cars right off the assembly line. Ambulance, like upfit vehicles, stuff like that. That's where I'm probably going to have to stick with the state and federal contracts until something happens, because I don't know if I'm ever going to get a fleet management contract as a Black CEO, in a federal thing with everything going on right now.
Especially he trying to get all our rights taken away pretty much at this point.
The only thing I really got going for me is that I'm a veteran. That's the only other kind of plus that could help me, but it's not even a guarantee.
It's not.
It is not a guarantee.
I would say it's even more scary nowadays, because they trying to get people to join the military nowadays, but you got the discrimination law that you got going on, so you bringing back some more racism stuff to happen to folks. So I don't know if people will be too eager to want to join if you got.
I'm gonna tell you something. So I know I know the military like the back of my hand. The newest commercial I seen for the Army, they went back in the day with the slogan, "Be all you can be," right? But the face, when I went in, "Be all you can be," the face it showed Black people in it. Today, it shows Latino people in it. And so we all know Black people ain't going over there fighting this war.
They ain't our battle no more.
You can read between the lines because I ain't gonna say nothing else about it, but as they will black bag your ass, you be done. So,
Yeah, you know what? I was thinking about joining myself because I was like, oh, let me get the benefits or whatnot. But I don't like the direction everything is going on in life. And if I was to have a child right now that was old enough to go to the military, I would like, just wait.
Yeah.
Just wait. So we talked about the new rules that's going on that it's going to affect your business. How are you going to maneuver around it? Because you still want to do with federal, but you can't let that stop you. So how you going to push through?
I still have I have a mentor through the SBA, Small Business Administration. They have a program called SCORE. And that's who I go through. I have a mentor there who's helping me with the federal side of the house. Because I don't know anything about federal contracting. State contracting is real easy. I mean, you go to the police station, you talk to whoever the buying agent is, and you just have to have the best bid.
Okay.
But when you go in federal, it is a lot more to it. So I'm still good. I don't know, make my bread. And on top of that, I got passive money coming in. I don't really even have to sell, but I like selling. I always loved. I just wanted a business. So
what were you doing before you got into the Army? Were you selling?
No. I was in high school. I came in right after high school.
I don't know if I would want to join right after high school. I don't know, because it's just too crazy. And when I think about businesses today, with the whole COVID stuff that happened, and everybody was doing the PP loans and all that stuff, and they getting it back.
I did not apply for it. I did a podcast with the person. Remember I told you I was helping in the beauty industry of spa? I literally did a podcast during COVID about that exact topic.
What'd they say?
She didn't do it either.
I mean, I wouldn't. First of all, if you ain't got a legit business, you don't need to be doing it anyway.
She had a legit business, but it was really only her. She was just a solopreneur.
Right.
It wasn't a spa at that point. It was, she just had her own space and was herself in there, had clients and stuff like that. So she could have did it, but the people were hitting her up left and right. Don't worry about it. Listen, you can add this person, add that person, do this. And I'm like, I told her, don't do that. Don't fucking do that.
Yeah.
I didn't do it. I could have did it. I was like, nah, because I don't really need the money. And now, 2 years later, boy, I seen them people get popped. I was like, I fucking knew it. The government give away free money. All you gotta do is have an EIN and some lies, know how to do the lies. I knew it was gonna spit in somebody's face.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they probably, the motto they're thinking, white folks do it all the time, so why they can't do it? But
you right.
You know who get caught the most, so it don't even matter about you doing it. You know who get caught the most.
Yeah, they catch a lot of people.
You funny. You is funny.
I was just clearing my throat.
With the people, where can the people find you?
Man, they can find me on Instagram, Mr. 3A, or my website, 3amsolutions.com. Facebook, Al Jones Sr. And also I got 3AM Solutions on Facebook as well.
You got a website?
I do, 3amsolutions.com.
Y'all heard what he said. So, are you hiring? Are you looking for anybody to come help you?
Right now, now that I'm getting off the ground a bit with the sales, with the the state sales, I'm gonna start bringing in sales professionals, and trust me, I already know who I'm gonna poach for my salesmen and my managers. Y'all
So that
know who
means
I'm
don't
coming
ask.
for.
That
You gonna
means
be
don't
mad
ask.
at me even more.
Don't ask. You know, what do you think about having? How important is relationships from previous jobs? How's that important to you?
That is an amazing question. Relationships from previous jobs. The whole time I was at all those dealerships, I kept names in my head of who I'm coming back for.
Mm-hmm.
There's certain people right now. I already got. Well, Rojo is one of them. I already talked to him.
Mm-hmm.
But he went down to Louisiana, came back, and he's doing his own consulting type business.
Mm-hmm.
But there are several places, like several dealerships I was at. The salesmen were amazing because they were sales professional. I'd never seen them as car salesmen, and those are the ones I matured those, not those relationships. They weren't friendships, but they were relationships. And I'd seen it. I just seen the traits in them. And I was like, when I'm ready, I already know who I'm coming for. I already know. It's about 5 of them
About 5 of them.
and one manager.
I think I can guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who knew after I left because I had.
Well, only after you left, it was one. That was Rojo. Because that's when you said you didn't know who he was. I was like, okay.
Okay, so yeah, I probably don't.
You know everybody else.
Yeah, I know that whatever you decide to do, it's gonna be good. You always had a good, spirit about yourself. Al was always cool to me.
I appreciate that.
I always appreciated you and what's her name, Jalissa.
It's funny you even mention her. Wow. Okay.
Y'all was cool people because everybody was not cool, and I wasn't talking to everybody. So I talked to my skin folks. If you get what I'm saying, catch my drift. We got to talk about this person that you said. I'm surprised that I said her name.
Jay?
Yeah.
Oh no, I don't have no problem with Jay.
Okay.
No. So when me and Jay are and see, everybody thought me and Jay was fucking. I ain't gonna lie to you. Everybody, because we go to lunch, we talk, everybody thought me and Jay was an item. We never was an item. And when Jay came from the BDC onto the floor, they just threw her to the fucking wolves. She was out there floundering. And so I was like, Jay, come here. I sat her at my desk like, I'm gonna teach you sales. And I started teaching her. She ended up finding herself her current fiance now. Oh, they doing fucking amazing. But she found her current fiance now.
Okay.
And he was doing other types of car sales, but as an entrepreneur. I went to Miami on Memorial Day weekend 2 years ago, and did a podcast with her. We talked about a lot of things from that particular dealership. Just recently, during that podcast, let me finish what I was saying. During that podcast, she was still introverted. She did social media, but she wasn't doing anything to she wasn't talking on her social media.
Right.
You a whole mind about this motherfucker? Fuck you doing, Jay? And so just a week ago, or a few weeks ago, first of all, Rick Ross liked one of her posts. That fucking post blew up. And then probably about 2 weeks ago, she put this post up. She started her company, 2 companies, a finance company and a car company and this and this. And I was like, in this nice little article, she looked real gorgeous. She looked gorgeous, had her family up there with her. I was like, oh, finally. So it was kind of like a proud father moment. Because I was like, she out of that goddamn shell because she had all the talent. I taught her a lot of shit. And I was just like, when are you going to put this to use, Jay? But through your 20s, you still learning.
Yeah.
When Jay said 30's the new fucking 20, that shit was for real.
So that means next year
That's
take off.
20s, literally, you still learning. 30s, you building your business.
Right.
40s, you working towards retirement because in 50, you should be doing shit. 55 is my number because I got a young boy. In 8 years, he'll be 18. So I'm going to work until then. And then I'm selling everything and retiring somewhere on an island. Might not be Belize, but even though that's where I'm at now. But Yeah.
Well, I enjoyed you coming out today because we caught up on some stuff that I didn't even know happened since I left that place. But it's a lot of jobs that I have been to, and I have like still relationships with people because I'm just cool with them. They was cool with me. It always been like that. But I like to end it off on like, what is something you would like to tell them, like positive, to keep people going? Because 2025 is only day 3, 4 we in of the new president, and it's been hell. So, what is something you could give them to uplift them, to encourage them?
Positive message. All right. When I hear people say I took a L, I don't see that as a loss.
Okay.
When you take a L, it's a life lesson or a life experience. Those are the only two things that you're really worried about. Life lessons, life experiences. So if you learn from the life lessons, the life experiences get better.
Right.
So resiliency is my favorite word in the entire dictionary. If you are a resilient person, you can bust through walls. Like something comes at you overhead, you got to learn how to deflect and just go around it. Like I'm one of those types. I've been, man, I can tell you some things, but not on these cameras. Shit that it would have broke people outside of the military. I ain't even talking about the military stuff. I'm talking about just over the past year. It would have broke some people. Bro, listen to me. I took it on head on 2 weeks, moved on, done. And I just started on the next project. I started on the next this, the next that, where literally it could have broke me. It could have broke me. No money. I could have nowhere to stay. Everything could have just faltered.
Right.
But resiliency, that is my favorite word in the entire dictionary. And I'm going to tell you, if you're going to do anything in business, you're going to have to be resilient. Remember your life lessons and your life experiences.
Well, what he said, be resilient. The word of the year is being resilient and consistent. Be consistently you.
Absolutely.
I'd like to thank everybody for watching today's episode of What Talent Podcast. This your girl, Lady J. I want to say peace to you.
What's good? Y'all be good, man.